There is a good chance that you have not taken the necessary steps to create your version of a successful retirement. People spend a ton of time thinking about and planning for what they're coming from. That career, that job, that business. They know exactly what has led them to this moment. But the problem is that they haven't spent enough time thinking about what they're going to, testing out what they're going to. Here's the deal. Retirement by the traditional sense is becoming non existent, almost obsolete. People are often not just getting to the end of their career saying, all right, that's it. I've done my duties, I've done my job. No, they're looking for something more. They crave impact. They want to expand upon their legacy. They're focusing more and more on health and longevity and a redefinition of complete purpose. I'm Brittany Anderson, president and partner of Sweet Financial Partners out of Southern Minnesota. Our team of professionals has spent over 4 decades helping people to retire well. What that means is that we don't simply focus on advising. Advisors simply inform. What we focus our time and attention on is in being leaders because leaders inspire. Leaders do more than inform. They call people to take action on their future and pursue possibility. For more information on what that means, go to dreamarchitecturebook.com. You can get a free copy of our latest book that literally lays out how you can create that fulfilled retirement and pursue even more possibility for yourself. So, continuing on, here's the deal. You have spent your entire life working up to this moment. You've worked for years. You've likely followed some sort of plan for what you want your future to look like. While you might dream of days of, no alarm clock or no major obligations or total freedom of time, energy, attention, the issue that we often see is that the things people think will fill their time end up only filling a very, very small fraction. So at this point, you might be thinking, all I care about is that I get to wake up and have freedom. I don't really need to know anything else. I just need to know that I'm going to be free of my time. You also might be thinking, all right, I've heard about retirement tips. I've heard about all I can hear. So what else could you possibly have to tell me? So, when you think about your future and you think about retirement, there are 5 key elements that people don't talk about enough that you need to put your attention to. So, when you think about creating that ideal retirement and the things that you need to do leading up to it, the first thing, the first thing that you should do before you do anything else is define what success looks like to you. What does a successful look like by your definition, not anybody else's, not your friends, not your relatives, not your coworkers, your employer, anybody else? You want to define what your definition of success is. So that might mean a life of travel, a life of experiences, time spent with loved ones. Maybe it's starting a brand new venture, a new business, or getting into business for yourself for the first time. Maybe that's something that you put on hold because you had a career that you enjoyed and you just didn't feel like that was the time. So the bottom line is, it doesn't matter what that success is. What matters is that you do the work to define what that looks like to you. This is a great exercise if you are married or you have a significant other. It's a great exercise to go through together to start asking yourselves deeper questions of fulfillment and what will make you feel like if you are at the end of this lifetime, you're on your deathbed and you're reflecting back thinking, wow, I did everything I wanted to do. I nailed it. I nailed it. So those are the things that you want to be able to say as you navigate through this next chapter. You want to have those periods of reflection to understand that you're doing all that you want to do and pursuing what your definition of success is at this period of your life. Tip number 2, if we were sitting here 3 years from today, reflecting back over the last 3 years, what has to have happened to make you feel like you've had success, to make you feel like you've made the progress that you want to make? So, this particular question comes out of an exercise from Dan Sullivan. He's the creator of the Strategic Coach, and he had laid out this question, and it's such a beautiful one that people can gain so much clarity when they spend the time to truly answer it. A 3-year time frame. As you're sitting right now, you might be fast approaching retirement. Maybe you're a few months away. Maybe you're a few years away. Maybe you've already hit that golden period and you're in retirement, but it's still fresh to you. So, regardless, if you want to create an intentional future, it is so important for you to lay out within that condensed period of time or defined period of time what success means to you. So it kind of flows up into the first tip that I gave when we talked about defining what success actually means. This allows you to take it just a bit further, to go a little bit deeper, and to think about that window of time of what you want to have happened, what will make you feel like you've made progress and you're not just a sitting duck. If you think about it like this, you might say, I want to have the best golf game of my life in 3 years. Awesome. That would be great for you. But my question always is, and the question our advisors on our team often ask is, how much do you golf now? Have you tried spending, exponential amount of times on the course? Do you know what that commitment might look like? Do you need formalized training? Do you need to go relocate somewhere where you're closer to, a professional? Whatever that might look like, you just want to make sure that you're ready and willing to do the necessary steps that'll get you to whatever that target is, whatever that success ratio is. So, making sure that you define it and then answer that deeper question of, if we were sitting here 3 years from today, reflecting back over the last few years, what has to have happened to make you feel like you made true progress towards that definition of success that you worked on in step number 1. Step number 3. This ties into the golf comment, and it's to test the waters of the things that interest you most. Now, this has happened time and time again. Where we're located, I'm in the Midwest. Southern Minnesota. It gets really darn cold around here in the wintertime. So if we have people that say, I want to spend as much of my time as possible on the golf course. And if we start asking the questions of, awesome, what's your favorite course? Have you spent a lot of time doing that? Do you know what it would look like if you did that every single day? Have you thought about where you might want to live in those colder seasons that would allow you to do that? Now, the issue that people run into is when they haven't done some testing. So maybe they're saying, you know what? I have friends that live in Florida or have a second home in Florida. So that's where I'm going to get a second home. And that's where I'm going to expand upon my golf game. That's great in theory until they get to Florida and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how humid it was down here. There's gators on the courses. Maybe this isn't all that I thought it was going to be. So it's that testing mechanism to actually spend time in an area that you think you want to be in the future. It's to take up the hobbies that you think you are going to spend exponential time doing so that you can truly test the waters and see if that's how you want to be spending the bulk of your time as you navigate this next chapter. So again, it's all about testing, and it doesn't have to be golf. That's just one example. It can be travel. If you've been one that's been more of a homebody throughout your lifespan and now you're thinking you want to travel, maybe you'll find you actually don't love international travel, or you don't love being in a hotel all the time. So again, those are things that you want to learn now so that when you're going into retirement, you're making great decisions for your future that you've tested, that you will or will not enjoy, so that you've done the homework ahead of time and you're not disappointed when that next chapter actually evolves. So that leads me into tip number 4. When you're thinking about creating and preparing for your ideal retirement, it's to talk to people who have done what it is that you are trying to do. There is nothing worse than getting advice from your neighbor who lives a completely different life than what it is you want. Their advice, their comments that may be in good faith, they may have goodwill in what they're sharing, but the problem is that they haven't experienced what it is that you are trying to achieve. So when you think about this, you want to make sure that if you don't have people in your life right now who have done or created the retirement that you want, that you strive towards, then you need to find a way to get around people who have. There's great opportunities in different networking. There's different communities you could go and visit and participate in. There is a plethora of resources out there where you could get in touch with people that have done or are doing the things that you want to do. Sometimes it's asking within your circle, your community. If you work with an advisor, if you work with a financial advisor or a wealth planner, talk to them about who they've helped retire in the way that you want to. What we have found is that a lot of times people are more than happy to share their experiences, both the good and the bad. So your job is just to open those conversations if you don't have access to the people who've already done what it is that you want to do. Point number 5, and this ties in a little bit with what I just said here. It's to work with an advisor who has helped people retire and retire well. Somebody who has helped hundreds of people over the years, maybe even thousands of people over the years, to retire and retire by their definition of success. Now, again, coming from the space of the wealth planning world, it doesn't matter, and I'm going to say this carefully. It doesn't necessarily matter who you choose as an advisor, as long as you choose somebody who has your best interest at heart, who has helped people retire and retire well, who has a track record of helping people pursue possibility, pursue their dreams, reach for the stars, all that good stuff. That's somebody that you want in your corner. And the reason that we say this is because an advisor can be that person, that leader to help not only inspire you, but to take the emotion out of your decisions in this next chapter. So, what that might look like is that while there are certain things that could seem really enticing to you, or big decisions that you have to make that feel like, the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Do I buy a vacation home? Do I rent? How do I spend my time, energy? How do I spend my well-earned money that I've saved up to this point? There's really big decisions that come into play here, and you want to make sure you have somebody in your court who can use the proper tools, the proper softwares, who has the education and the experience and has helped people over the years make those informed decisions when it comes to a time of your life that, depending upon what you want to do, you may not be accumulating money anymore. You may be strictly in that distribution phase of life. And maybe that's for the rest of your life, or maybe that's for a shorter time. But regardless, this is a different chapter for you. You want to partner with people who have helped you do this before. So, all that being said, if you would like even more information on how to create a wonderful retirement, on how to make these years the best yet, tune into the biggest opportunity in retirement with our advisor, with wealth advisor Amber Knips, where she lays out how you can make this the best chapter yet. Be sure to also subscribe to our channel, to give this video a like so that you can be the first to see when new content drops.